Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyam Harihi Om. Yasyantarnadi madhyam nahi karacharanam namagotram na sutram no jatir naiva varna na bhavati purusho na napumsam na chastri nakaram no vikaram nahi janimaranam nasti punyam na papam tattvam no tattvam sahajasamarasam sadgurum tam namami sada shivasamarambham Shankaracharya madhyamam asmadacharya paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varshishthante Vasadrishiganayiravritam Brahmanishtaihi Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudramanandarupam Swatma Ramam Muditavadanam Dakshinamurtimide Vedantartha Vibhasakayetaye Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadinagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavatpadabhidam Vibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakrite namostu satatam Purnaya bodhatmane Apara satchit sukhavari rashehi Yasyurmimatram bhuvanam samastam Guhahitam tam ramanam gabhiram Chintavihinam hridi chintayami Deham rinmayavajjadatmakam Aham buddhirna tasyastyatu naham tattadabhava supti samaye Siddhatma sadbhavatah Koham bhavayutah kuto varadhiya drishtvatmanishtatmanam Soham spurtitaya arunachala shivah purno vibhati swayam Om tatsadakyam purusham guhesham Bhaktartinashaya shariravantam Modaswarupam madhurasvabhavam Tvamatmanatham Ramanam bhajami Ulagumai poi totram ulagarivam andrendru Ulagu sukam andrendru raithan Ulagu vittu தன்னையோர்ந்து ஒன்றிரன்று தானற்று நானற்ற அந்நிலை எல்லார்க்கும் ஒப்பாம். Yesterday we saw the second verse. மும்முதலை எம்மதமும் முற்கொள்ளும். Sanskrit Sadarshana Arabhyate Jiva Jagat Paratma Tattvabhidhanena Matam Samastam Idam Trayam Yavad Aham Mati Syat Sarvottama Aham Mati Shunya Nishtha. All the religions in the world, they speak about God, about creation, and also about the me, the person, the individual self. This is called the Triputi. These three are there as long as this ego I, the sense, the I sense is there. When in deep sleep, the I sense is extinguished. Nobody has recognized the world or anyone else. So too in the Samadhi. When you go deep within, push the mind into its own womb and extinguish the I. and what exists there. You touch the pure essence, the Satchidananda, the pure awareness. Bhagavan called it as Unarvu, Ulla Unarvu. Existence itself is awareness. So that awareness of one's own real being alone matters. Bhagavan did not consider anything else as worthwhile for discussion. He was not concerned about the Siddhanta. Generally, even when we say Advaita, it becomes a philosophy, Siddhanta. So Vishishta Advaita, Advaita, everything comes inside. When somebody asked Bhagavan how to reconcile all these Siddhantas, we know Advaita is Shankaracharya, is the propounder, and Vishishta Advaita is Ramanuja, and Dvaita, dualistic philosophy, is Madhvacharya. So when someone asked Bhagavan how to reconcile, Bhagavan said, all of them accept self-knowledge. You first attain that. Then we will think whether it is one or two or many. So if someone asked Bhagavan about Aurobindo's philosophy. There also Bhagavan found only where we can become one. He said Aurobindo accepts surrender. After surrender, what happens? Let us see later on. First you surrender. So first you surrender, there the problem is over. First you know, one Ramakrishna Mission Swami, he himself told that when he came to see Bhagavan, he asked Bhagavan about some question about Jnani. It is there in the talks. Swami Lokeshananda is no more now. So he asked Bhagavan about Jnani. Bhagavan asked whether the questioner is a Jnani. Then he said, I am not. Then Bhagavan said, then leave Jnani to himself. Let him bother about his Jnana. You ask about your real nature. Do not bother about others. Whether it is Jnani or Ajnani, anything. It is their prarabdha. Why are you concerned about anatma vastu, other things? First you know, the only thing about which you are sure is your own existence. Even in a dark room you sit, you cannot even see your own body, the neighbor who is sitting, you cannot see, but something is there in you with absolute certainty. And that is your own I am, the existence. You don't need any light to see it. Swabodhe na anyabodhe cha bodharupataya atmana. This is a very beautiful verse of Shankaracharya. It's Atma Bodha. These verses, they all contain the experience of Samadhi. Yes, Shankaracharya says, Swabodhe, in one's own awareness. Na anyabodhe cha. No anyabodha, no other awareness is needed. No one need to certify that you exist. You know. Bodharupataya atmanaha. Because the very nature of the Atman, the very nature of the self is bodha, is consciousness, is awareness. Na deepasya anya deepecha. The deepa, the light, the lamp needs no other lamp to enlighten it. By its very nature it is light. Svatma Prakashane. So too, one's own existence is Bhagavan's teaching. The I is Bhagavan's teaching. So there, the whole teaching, philosophy, everything converges. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a statement. I don't know why many of the commentators have left it. They have not even observed it. That is the definition for Upanishad. The Upanishad says, Ahamiti Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, what is the Upanishad? What is in you as your I? It is the Upanishad. Something which is very intimate, very close to you, which is a constant experience, that is Upanishad. All the Upanishads, all the Vedas have come from that source. Shastra Yoni is the sutra there. Shastra Yonitvad. It is the Yoni, the source from where all the scriptures have come, all the saints have come. So learn the art to plumb there, to stay there, to abide there. So that was the only thing to know. Okay, now we enter the verse 3. This is an introduction that I have given to that verse. Ulagu mei poi totram ulagu arivam andru endru. People, they need something to fight. If they have nothing to fight, they will create something. So Bhagavan says, why do you unnecessarily have argument, debate? Some people say the world is real. There is the opponent, he says the world is unreal. And there are worldly people, they say the worldly life is very, very happy, pleasurable. Ulag Sukham. The spiritual aspirant comes, it says it's all mithya, anityam, evanescent, poi, totram. Why do you argue like this, says Bhagavan? Tannai arindu. There is no use of having some philosophy regarding the world or God or anything. What is needed is who you are. To know your real nature. Tannai arindu, ஒன்று இரண்டு தான் அற்று நான் அற்ற அந்நிலை. The state where there is neither one nor two. Non-atra nilai, the state where the ego is not, the I thought is not. Ellarkum oppam, everyone likes that state. This is the statement, Mahavakya I said, Ellarkum oppam. No, that is why we want to sleep. Because that is the only authentic state there where there is no I. So you just see the children, when you wake them up, so much pain in coming to this so-called beautiful world. You wake them up, so much pain. And if you tell today is holiday, yes, and we can have a glimpse of that state once in a while. You wake up in the midnight and suddenly you feel, it is already morning. And you look at the timepiece, you see it is only 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Not for you. He wakes by 2 o'clock. But generally you wake up by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Then you see so much time is there to sleep. Suddenly a joy comes. A delight comes, Somehow you choose that state where tanatru, nanatru, there is neither world nor I, nothing. Tan atru, nan atra, annilai. The illumined state where the I does not arise. Ondru irandru tan atru. Nan atra, annilai. The state where the I is not. It is a glimpse. It's a clue. You don't need any teacher, any guru. The inner one is every day giving you experiential teaching. Bhagavan never said you should have death experience. He said deep sleep is enough. About 90 places or more in talks he has spoken about deep sleep. And Bhagavan never slept. That is, always awake, vigilant. Because if you know what is sleep, Swapnantam, Jagaridantam, cha ubhau yena anupashyati. Mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiro nashochati. He is a brave one who knows that illuminer behind the waking state, behind the deep sleep state. The moment you catch hold of it, have a glimpse of it, you want a illumined teacher only for that. At a rare moment, he points out that. Then hence he is called as Deshika. He is a Deshika. That is why people throng to Bhagavan. At a rare moment, a look. Muruganar says, it used to happen with Bhagavan and him many times. Once he has written a poem in Sanidhi Murai where he says, when he came to ashram, Bhagavan was not there. So then he asked, where is Bhagavan? Where is Bhagavan? Somebody said, Bhagavan has gone somewhere, we don't know. Bhagavan nicely, stealthily left. Because, always people will be sitting around you. Just imagine Bhagavan's state. Always 24 hours people sitting around him. Kunjuswami, somebody asked Kunjuswami, they all have moved very closely with him. Bhagavan's Siddhi, about Bhagavan's powers, occult powers. Kunjuswami said the greatest occult power that Bhagavan had perhaps is, he had no privacy. Even in bathroom, in toilet, we will be there with him. He had no privacy, 24 hours. You just think about it. It is not an advisable state for an aspirant. We should never say that everybody should be like Ramana Maharshi, always available. No. For an aspirant, he needs aloneness, ekanta, solitude is needed. And Bhagavan also said that you should be ekanta deshattu irundu. He gives the teaching that you should do this meditation by abiding in solitude, in ekanta, not unnecessarily associating with people. These teachings he has given. But for him, 24 hours he was crowded. Swami Chidananda Saraswati of Rishikesh, he told Ramana Maharshi was always crowded by people, but he was always in ekanta. Always in solitude. Not at all affected by the presence of others. And if he wants to walk, he will walk. Just like a child, you go to some house and there is a child there. He will not say, come on, sit. He will just walk away. Like that, Bhagavan had no otherness in him. He will just, if he has to go for a walk, he will go for a walk. He will come and sit. He will not look at people. Or if he feels like looking, he will look. There is no otherness. You just have to meditate on Bhagavan's that state, that fullness, that purnatva. So that purnatva, Muruganar says, once he went inside the forest and he went chasing Bhagavan. They all had this thirst, this hunger for this satsanga. So he went behind Bhagavan and Bhagavan was just picking up leaves to make dining leaf, stitching them together. So at that time Muruganar went there And he has written, Bhagavan just looked at him and smiled. And Muruganar sings that one look made me bodiless, mindless. He made me established in Shava Nilai Tandan. He gave me that state where there is neither birth nor death. Like this, many are the occasions where this Shakti inside the master just penetrates. It goes there. It's Veda Diksha. It just penetrates. So that kind of glance, that look, even a glance tells you Tattvamasi. This is not, we cannot make it common. Generally, when you go to a teacher, the teacher will constantly remind you Tattvamasi. You are the Atman. You are the self. You are Brahman. And a real aspirant should go to a satsang only to hear that. Nothing else. Shankaracharya says people are interested in many other things. They go to astrologers, give their horoscope, and he says this problem, that problem, you do this ritual and you will get solved. Adya Ashtamiti, Navamiti, Chadurdashiti, Jyotishkavache, Upavasanti Bhaktya. With bhakti they perform all whatever he says. Shrutestvaho Tattvamasiti Vakyam. Na Vishwasanti Adbhutameta. That Shruti Mata, the Divine Mother Upanishad is telling you, you are Brahman. You are the Supreme Being. You are the Infinite. You are not this limited body. You are not the mind. You are not the ego. You are that Satchidananda. And alas, they are not able to absorb it. So this was the sorrow, grief of one of the greatest of the teachers. So be concerned only about that. Annilai ellarkum oppam. Here I don't want to expound more about each line of the verse. Here Bhagavan says, Annilai ellarkum oppam. That state of realization is beneficial for all. The state where you are free of the body, the mind, the ego, nirvikalpa. Vikalpa means disturbance. Nirvikalpa means no disturbance, just peace, shanti. You should have some clue of realization. You know what is realization? Realization is nothing but peace. It is incessant peace. Somebody wrote Bhagavan a letter, it is there in the letters from Ramanacharanatirtha, asking about, he has written, I am not even asking self-realization, Bhagavan. I want only peace. This was his letter. Reading it, Bhagavan says, what else is peace? Peace is jnanam, peace is mukti, peace is realization, peace is everything. So Shanti is realization. Many of you might have heard about Swami Tapovan Maharaj, Chinmayananda's guru. He lived in Uttarakashi all his life. While he was deeply pondering over the Upanishads, trying to get stabilized in that state, he is from Kerala. In that time, he made a visit to Tiruvannamalai and had a darshan of Bhagavan in Virupaksha cave. There he writes in his biography, the greatest clue that I got from Maharshi is that Shanti is Samadhi. That peace is Samadhi. And that Shanti is the very nature of Atma. You get this clue, it is enough. Shantoyam Atma. There's a beautiful anecdote in Bhagavan's life. One day evening, all the Vedic scholars were chanting Vedas, and Bhagavan was sitting majestically, and he entered a deep samadhi state. Of course, Bhagavan was always in samadhi, but sometimes he used to enter that absorbed state of nirvikalpa. Dr. N.R. Krishnamurti Iyer has written, while Bhagavan was in Skandashram those days, he was much more in that state. But when he came down, people were always around him, and more food was coming. That is the basic problem. So this food, you have very sumptuous, very tasty food, your samadhi will go. Then only sleep will be there. So, Bhagavan used to make fun of it also. You need only very little food, more food, you don't need a writing desk. You know what it is? The tummy is so big, you can keep the book there and write. So, after coming to ashram also, sometime there were occasions when he had to be woken up by blowing a conch shell, shankha, in his ears. Annamalai Swami has said that. Sometimes they used to blow the shankha. So one day he was in that kind of state, open, eyes were open, flickerless. The body was so still, not looking at anybody. That used to be very, very beautiful estate. There was one Nataraja here, not much known among Bhagavan's devotees. He was in 90s. So once he told, he has seen Bhagavan. So once he told, a beautiful example he gave, this electric motor, that generator motor, if you put it on with the sound, it will be shaking also. The motor will be shaking when the current passes. And if you put it off, it will become still. Like that, when Bhagavan normally amongst us, his body will be shaking. His head will be shaking like that. And suddenly, as if the motor is off, he will become still. And that will be a scene to be seen by gods. That kind of stillness will waft around. So he was in such a state, and devotees have brought fruits. A basket of fruits was kept in front. Suddenly a monkey walked in. And that monkey came near Bhagavan, freely extended its hand and took one fruit and was about to go and looked at Bhagavan. And without a movement, as if painted picture, it was looking like that and still. It's like a statue, like a shilpa. Few minutes went away like that. Then the bell rang. And it started moving. It again started running. By that time, Bhagavan also woke up and looked at the monkey and said, "Apadiye irukkirathu thane." He said, "Why don't you remain like that? Yenda samrajyathu pidikka pore." The question which Bhagavan asked is, by moving away from that state, which great empire are you going to conquer? This is not a question to the monkey. This is a question to the monk with a key. Bhagavan remarked that, He is the real monk. He has no house. He has no ashram. He has, even his baby is keeping in his tummy and staying in a branch in a tree. And we call ourselves monks. We take all the fruits and keep it inside the store, lock it and keep the key in our pocket. So, when a real monk comes, you don't give him anything. No, Bhagavan called the monkey as a monk, and a monk with a key not as a monk. So, this is not a real monk. A real monk is one who is absolutely free. So, he always, Bhagavan was, generally we will say, Bhagavan never recommended sannyasa. But Bhagavan's, it was, in Tamil we say, Nasuk. And, it is in a very diplomatic way. He said, don't take sannyasa. Become a sannyasi. He never said, don't take sannyasa. And he saw to it that all his disciples become absolute renunciates. True renunciates. He made them like that. He made them abide in that state. Because jnanam sannyasa lakshanam. In Ramana Gita, Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni asked Bhagavan, what is sannyasa? Because Bhagavan never spoke about it. When he asked about, you might have heard about the 4 ashramas. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. When they asked to Bhagavan, Bhagavan spoke only about 3 ashrama. That's very intelligent, because the Brahmacharya ashrama you can do. The householder can do. And the third is this ashrama where wherever you are placed, you practice spirituality. You train yourself. And he didn't speak about sannyasa. Then Ganapati Muni again asked, Bhagavan, you didn't speak about sannyasa. Turiyashramaha kale swayameva bhavishyati. Bhagavan said that Turiyashrama will Turiyashrama means the 4th ashrama. That sannyasa ashrama, kale, in the right time, in the ripe time, it will naturally blossom inside you. You can see who will dare to say that Ramana Maharshi is not a sannyasi. But Bhagavan did not take sannyasa from anyone. Bhagavan did not take sannyasa, and Bhagavan did not give also. He did not give sannyasa to anybody. But Muruganar, Vishwanatha Swami, and many of his very close disciples, they were all Paramahamsas. They were all in that state. They never moved away from that state. He saw to it that they stayed there. The abidance was there. And he said, Ellarkum uppam. You can have that state wherever you are placed. Even if you are placed in a family, Bhagavan used to say, in a family also you can be in that state. What is the problem? Remain in that state. And that is what I said, diplomatic. Because if you remain in that state, everything will fall away. If you remain in that state, naturally, Shankaracharya said, if you do not have light, you will slip and fall in some ditch. But if you have light, you will not fall. So too, if you have jnana, a crystal clear vision, all the complex things will go away from you. Life will become utterly simple. The whole thing is only that. You don't create new knots around you, which later on you have to untie. You are not interested in creating more and more complex situations around you, which will compel you to think. Karma Yoga means slowly unwinding the field of actions, yourself from the field of actions. And Jnana Yoga means, that comes the last. And real yoga, Dhyana Yoga means you learn the art of not thinking. You say, I don't want to think. But life tells you think. You just see, this is the fight that all of us are going around. When you come to Ramanacharanatirtha, suddenly you feel a thoughtless, chill state. Now you have to go back somewhere, book the ticket, and deal with passport, visa. And when you enter family, all the family problems around you. Then people come and ask how not to think when we have all these problems. So here, your choice is to be free of thoughts. Refusal to harbor thoughts. To remain, and not only refusal to harbor thoughts, recognizing that beingness in you which is ever full. If that is jnana. If you recognize that, even if thoughts happen, doesn't matter. But compulsive thinking will not be there. It will be difficult. The result of unintelligent living is compulsive thinking. Disorderly life, it compels you to think. You see Bhagavan's life. The ashram was around him. Do you think it was a peaceful thing? So many problems were there. And these problems were asking Bhagavan to think. Any other Mathadhipati would have allowed his mind to think how to solve these problems. Bhagavan said, let them remain there. He never bothered about the problems or solving the problems. He just remained in his glorious state. There comes that the world is unreal. Because if he considers it as real, he has to appear in the court, fight for his release, all the problems, to solve all the problems. He never bothered. And if you know how to abide in that state, it's a great challenge. That's why dhīrānāmeva karadalagata muktihi. Such courage, it is not so easy. Somehow you will be compelled to act. Not to be affected by the phenomena around. To remain in the center of the cyclone and not to be affected by it. Just think about it. It's not that easy. They are not trying to solve the problem. There was one devotee of Kanchi Paramacharya. He is from Tiruvannamalai actually. He was called Pradosham Venkataraman. And whenever, you see, when a spiritual master is there, we think everything will be peaceful around him. But Ramakrishna said, right under a lamp there will be darkness. Light will fall in a distance. Underneath the lamp there will be darkness sometimes. So there will be problems. So this devotee, whenever he used to go to this Paramacharya, there will be some problem around. They will create some problem. And one day he went to Swami and said, Swami, I am finding it very difficult. I want to have your vision, darshana every day. And he was a mad devotee. Every day by 1:30 in the morning, I don't know whether to call it morning or night, it's midnight, he will start walking from his house to the mud. And by 3 o'clock he will be there to see the Swami. Then he had to face all these problems. And one day he could not bear. And he said, I had to face so many problems to come near you. Then Paramacharya asked, oh, how do you meditate on me? What is your concept about me? என்ன நினைச்சுட்டு இருக்கேன்? He said, I consider you as Parameshwara, as Shiva. Oh, then who will be around Shiva? You know, around Shiva, all the Bhutas will be there. The ghosts will be there. The Bhuta Ganas will be there. If you want me, you have to bear them also. If you want me, you have to endure them also. There is no other way. So with all the problems, it is not that they are revealing something like that. Everyone's life will be like that. But in the center, you have to know how to abide in that state free of thoughts. The mindless state. Ellarkum oppam. Bhagavan says, that is one state which will give you joy, wholeness. Tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. Krishna tells in Gita, hence Arjuna, you be a yogi. And you, when should I be yogi? Sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhava Arjuna. All the time be lodged in yoga. All the time make your mind. And what is yoga? If you ask Krishna in Gita, what is yoga? He says, Atma samstham manah kritva na kinchidapi chintayet. Make the mind abide in the self and do not initiate any more thinking. Simple definition of yoga. Make the mind abide in the self. Let not the thoughts estrange you from the center, take you away from the center. Thoughts, even if they come and go like clouds in the sky, do not be deluded by them. Abide in your real nature, Atma Samstham. Abidance in one's real nature. And that is Ellarkum Oppam. Bhagavan says, whoever he may be, even if he believes in duality, if he remains egoless, he is a jnani. The Siddhanta doesn't matter. The mystery is you can see Mahatmas, great saints in the dualistic cult also. It is not that you will find saints only in Advaita. You will find great saints in Madhva Sampradaya. You will find great saints in Ramanuja Sampradaya. How is it possible? Because any philosophy that helps you to surrender, anywhere you can hang your ego. Sometimes you need a dualistic philosophy to hang your ego. No, you have to find a peg to hang your ego. Sometimes you need something outside where you can hang your ego. So this is our spiritual sadhana. The experiment that we have to do is where to hang the ego. You find some guru, something. Bhagavan found best place to hang his ego, Arunachala. He said, I came here to taste Arunachala, but Arunachala swallowed me. This is Bhagavan's statement, you know. Ramanacharanatirtha, Shapadu unnai sharndu unavayan shantamai povan Arunachala. Arunachala, I came here with so much hunger to consume you, to taste you. But the moment I came here, you swallowed me. You finished me off. Share Oditaya Arunachala. Not a little bit remains now. You just completely eradicated the I. That is why it is very risky to be near Arunachala. Muruganar says, Uyirunni. Unni means one who eats. And what does he eat? He likes to eat this jiva, the ahanta, the ego. And he likes it very much. So you approach the master. You approach Bhagavan in any form. That is why sometimes, you go to a deity in a temple. There it happens. The moment you see God in that form, these are all vibhutis. We call it vibhuti. Somewhere there is a special manifestation. And you go there, you see divinity manifest there. And when you enter and come out, something is lost. And what is lost? The I is not there. Ramananai kandavar tannai marappare. One devotee sang, you see Ramana, then you forgets your own I. After that, you forget to use the I. Then only you have really seen Ramana. Otherwise you have not seen Ramana. You really see Ramana when the seer is not there. The I is lost. The ego I is lost. Tannai தான் அற்று நான் அற்ற ஒன்று இரண்டு தான் அர்த்து தன்னை ஓர்ந்து. That is the next step. When you pay attention to the I, தன்னை ஓர்ந்து. How to be free of this I? You pay attention to the I, then you see that the I is not real. In the presence of Bhagavan, this focusing on one's inner state, or at least on the I thought, naturally happens. See, who am I? The first step Bhagavan said is, you start getting fascinated by the I thought. Bhagavan himself has said this word, used this word in his death experience. There was a strange fascination for the mind to trace the I thought to its source. The word used is a strange fascination to look at the I thought. And the I thought is not like other thoughts. The moment the attention focus falls on that, then you feel a churning happening around inside. The moment the I thought is touched, that is the Shakti. The Shakti inside. Everything inside, the whole body, the mind, each and every cell is affected the moment the I is touched. Suppose all of you have come here, I point out for some person and insult him. How will he feel? There will be a churning in the body. I've used some words. It affects the I thought. And the moment the I thought is touched, actually, Bhagavan was doing that. Making you separate the I thought from other thoughts. This was the first breakthrough in spiritual life. He just used the word I in such a way. Hence we say it's the mudra of Dakshinamurti. Mudra of Shiva. Aham iti antaspurantam sada. But that even that spurti Bhagavan did not say. He simply said aham vritti. You say I. What do you mean by that? Tannai orndu. First pay attention to that I. You just start becoming fascinated by the I. Not the alphabet I, but the feel of I. Alphabet I or the language first person I is not what is meant. It is not the grammar. It is not the word I. Leave that word. The feel of I. Hence Shankaracharya says, the dog, he refuses to budge when you have to come here. Because he considers, who are you to say that? This is my place. You can see that I inside him. See that I inside him. You can see that in every bird, if you become more and more attentive, you can see that even in a plant. Ya tiryang nara devatabhir ahamityantas putagrihyate. Tiryang means all the animals, the creatures, four-legged creatures. And in devata, everywhere, ahamiti antasputagrihyate. Something is throbbing within as I. Sputa means very clear, very palpable. You can see that in every creature. Even in plants, if you observe, you will start seeing it. This. Once you start observing this, the greatest thing that you learn, or the unique thing about Bhagavan's teaching is, he makes you pay attention to something which is very common with all. Ellarkum oppa. Which is very common with all, but it is very mysterious that we have asked many questions, but we say the greatest teaching given by Ramana Maharshi is, who am I? But it was not Ramana Maharshi. It was there all. In fact, the Bhagavata Purana says that was the first question that the Creator asked. That Brahma, he was sitting in the lotus and asked, who am I? Kayesha yosau aham abjaprishtaha. He asked, who am I? So this who am I is not Bhagavan's finding. It is there everywhere, and it is actually a shame that we need Bhagavan to ask this question. Bhagavan says, Aye. He says, it's shame. Ati sulabham atma vidya. This atma vidya is so sulabham, so simple, so direct, so immediate. Every creature is carrying this feeling of I, and why I don't know where they fail to ask this question, what is my real nature? They take the body as the I, but the body never says I. And something is vibrating inside as aham, iti antaspurantam sada, constantly. No mantra you can carry like that. Any mantra you chant, 1 hour, 2 hours, then you go to sleep, it is gone. This is the mantra which is constantly vibrating inside you, pulsating inside you, without your effort. Hence we call it as ajapa japa. No japa is needed. The japa is there. The antaryami is doing the japa. The inner being is doing the japa. The outer initiator is only initiating you to enter that stream and wear that current in your being. That is actually initiation. We are all given that Yajñopavita, the sacred thread. We call it Yajñopavita, that sutram. But ultimately the real sutram that you have to wear is this inner thread, which runs behind the waking state, the dream state, the deep sleep state, the childhood, the youth, the old age, always remaining as the constant principle behind every change, the changeless principle behind every change, at the same time throbbing as I. You pay attention to it, then you see that it's a constant jnana pravaha. Shankaracharya says that is real Ganga. You pay attention to it, you take a dip there, then you had the celestial bath. Jnana pravaha vimala adi Ganga. It is the primordial Ganga, the most celestial Ganga. Once you come in contact with that Ganga, then you are purified. This is the challenge that a seeker has. He can take the help of a mantra. Nothing. It is the most simplest method. You can take a mantra. Generally, a master gives a mantra, an initiation. A mantra is given. Mantra means, even who am I is a mantra. It is not a mechanical mantra. The moment Bhagavan utters it, it becomes alive. To some devotee, Bhagavan said, chant I. It became a mantra with him. So the moment you are initiated with a mantra, we can say traditional mantra also. You start chanting the mantra, and slowly the mantra becomes alive. Means, when a real Siddha gives you a mantra, he is not, in Tamil we say Odar. The Upadesha is given. Upadesha in Tamil they call it Odaradu. Odaradu means transmitting it. He will just breathe it into you. He is not just uttering it in your ears and you have to do mechanical repetition. That is also one way. You have to struggle your way. But a great Siddha, when he gives you a mantra, his very breath will, just like one person has cold, somebody sits near him, the cold will not ask, may I enter you? It will not ask, and no initiation is necessary. Just the presence, the cold walks inside. You will be wearing mask, it does not matter. It will just enter. Everybody comes to a master with some mask because they don't want to get affected by the by the power of the disease that master is having. But still, whatever mask you may wear, this will forcefully enter there. This will forcefully enter there. Narada said in his Bhakti Sutra, in his Bhagavata it is there. He says, if you love a jnani, his power will enter you. If you hate a jnani, it will enter you with more force. Not even love can do that. He says, Yatha vairanu bandhena martyaha tanmayatamiyat na tatha bhakti yogena itime nishchitamati. As a person can become spiritual by hating a jnani, with that much ease, you cannot enter by bhakti. So, if you hate a jnani, then also you will get. If you fear a jnani, that will also affect you. If you fear a jnani, that will also you will get affected. If you have just some kind of connection with a jnani, then also you get affected. So because the question, the only person who is not affected is the believing person. You give so much importance to belief. Narada says, belief means you instantaneously close. He says, I believe, I am a believer. Okay, over. Udasina, no connection. We call it as axe namaskara. Axe, cutting axe, like that, you go before a temple or a church. Over. After that, no connection between God and me. I believe. I will not enter your area. Please don't enter my area. It's a mutual adjustment and says, I am a believer. There ends the whole process. Such a person will not get anything. Either dare to love or have at least courage to hate or fight with him. Have some kind of deep relationship. When two bodyguards of Vishnu, Bhagavata, the story comes, they had a curse. They had to take birth in earth as Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, demons. They said, Lord, we want to come back very quickly. Then Bhagavan said, I will give you two choice. One is, you can do bhakti, have devotion to me, but it's a very long path. So many lives of slow devotion, you can come back. No, we want to rush back. Then only one way, start fighting with me. Have fight with me. And they chose that path. So this story is told, why? Because you will not hate even devilish people in the world. Because there is no devil. They have chosen to be devilish. That some intensity is there in them. And that intensity they have chosen because that is the path through which they can move. And Narada says, Sambrambha Sambrudha Samadhi. Sambrambha means aversion. Sambrudha means the entire mind is collected. The mind is intensely collected and samadhi. With the Sambrambha, the mind is collected and put in God. So who knows what they are attaining? So many invaders came to India. They were constantly breaking one after the other, some idols, some temple. We will be saying that they will be punished. Bhagwan will be loving because they are getting deeply attached to me. They want to fight. Arjuna, there is a story, very, very beautiful story. Arjuna wanted to see Shiva. So he came to Andhra Pradesh in Sri Shaila, did tapas. All Panchakshara, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Shiva did not come. And every day he was doing puja, doing mantra japa, everything, nothing. Then Shiva felt very sorry for him because he is struggling so much. How to bless him? Unless he gets connected with me, I cannot give vision. The only way he can get connected with me is to fight. Because he is a great fighter. Only when he fights, his eye will arise. Otherwise, your real nature will not come out. See, this is an art we have to explore. Simply self-enquiry. Your eye you have kept in music. And you come to old hall and do who am I, go to sleep. If you start singing, your eye will come. Then who am I will happen. Or your eye you have kept hidden it in cooking. And you come to Ramanacharanatirtha and who am I, nothing will happen. Only when you cook, the eye will arise. Wake up. So you have to find where the eye will be palpable, where you can grasp it. So Shiva came and challenged Arjuna as a hunter. He came as a hunter and said, come on, fight with me. Arjuna was trying to meditate. No, don't disturb me. I am meditating. And Shiva disturbed him and woke him up and said, you are not a Kshatriya, I am challenging you. And he just poked his eye and had a fight with him. Arjuna thought, an ordinary hunter, I can easily win him. So he just took one arrow and nothing was happening. He could not win. Then he started real fight, and the more and more he fought, the more he forgot about his all, who am I, meditation, everything. And the real I woke up. Because of his meditation, his eye was sleeping, snoring. Now when Shiva challenged, the aham vritti woke up so much and stood against the Lord with so much power, and there the Lord entered. See, only when you put the aham vritti out, he just pounced upon it. He just pounced upon it and just tore it apart. Pashupati, he is called Pashupati there, the real man who just devoured the animal in you. There he got the greatest astra, that is Pashupata. He carried it in his being. No? There, the Lord can touch you only when you expose your eye. See, who am I? Bhagavan has given us this science to somehow know the secret. It is not a mechanical thing. Know the secret, how to expose your entire being to the Lord. Sharda Devi, Ramakrishna's Dharmapatni, the Divine Mother, she when in her teaching, she said, if you have to put a thread in a needle, even a little bit of thread is standing apart, it will not enter the needle. So it should be like a one hole. Like that, the eye is spread out inside. As this, that, many thoughts, many things. You just take it and you put some oil and do it like this. Like that, the aham vritti is just taken and separated. The scientific method Bhagavan gives. But sometimes, you have to take other way to make it work. That is what we call as swadharma. Swadharmacharanam. By doing what? By standing where you can make the entire being awake. The entire mind awake. And expose it to the inner being. That is the Mahayoga. Non-atra annilai. This is what Bhagavan calls at becoming food to the Atma. Swayam tad annihi bhavanam. Become anna to him. Become food to him. You expose yourself to Ishvara and he just finishes you. Erases the I thought. Sometimes it can happen very simply. The Guru will tell, you do not exist. The I is not real. One word can do the magic sometimes. For a ripe aspirant, one word is enough. Then you no more bother about the world, whether it is sukham, happiness, or sorrow, or whether it is real or unreal. No philosophy anymore disturbs you. You have the pot of nectar in your heart. Why bother about anything else? Ramakrishna used to say, a tin full of wine is there. You take a tumbler, you are inundated. Why bother how much is there in that tin? A little bit is enough to make you forget everything Everything is gone. Why bother about anything? So this knowledge you take or you surrender, have bhakti, anything will do wherever you can forget the ego. You know the siddhanta, the knowledge, but when you employ it in your personal life, sometimes you have to walk a noble path. There lies the real personal touch. That is why no two jnanis can be same. There will not be any imitation. If there is imitation, it is not real. The real means you will find your way. You will find your way how to have connection with the divine. Have you ever heard about somebody hating Bhagavan to reach that state? But even with Ramana Bhagavan, that story was there. It's a unresolvable story. A devotee who served Bhagavan so much in the hill, he became the greatest troublemaker. This is not simply in Bhagavan's life, it has happened with almost many saints. Somebody who is very intimate, suddenly something happens to them and they start hating the master or creating trouble there because the inner one chooses some path. That is why the master will never feel bad about them, return the hatred, because the master knows he is getting deeply, intimately related. Because he can get related only that way, not any other way. That is benefiting him, because the entire life, all your emotions will, when offered to the divine, transmutes you, makes you whole. So, yellarkum oppam. Here Bhagavan says, that state where you have that connection with the divine, that is the highest state that an aspirant should aspire. You can call it as bhakti, or as jnana, or as yoga, anywhere you are centered. Anything that suits you, makes you free of the I thought, makes you established in inner peace. That is your spiritual sadhana. Till you find it, you will find yourself again and again struggling. There was one saint in Kerala. He was called as a madman, Brandhan. Every day he will take a big boulder, roll it to the top of the hill. And one leg he had that, what do they call it? The mandukal, elephant artist. That big. With that, he will roll the boulder to the top of the hill. And evening, by the sunset, he will reach there. And push it down. And it will roll down and fall in a pond. And people used to call, naturally when they see a person doing this, they will call him a mad person. So his brother was a very scholarly person. He asked, why are you doing this? He said, see, it is very beautiful, delightful to see the rock falling down. His brother said, it happens in a second. For that you toil all the while. To get a little joy, you work so much. And this person said, that is what all of you are doing. And he said, this doing, this pushing, something you have to do. This body has trained itself to do this. While doing that, he was in samadhi. Otherwise, the body will unnecessarily, every day you do this, you do that, change of work, nothing. The body is doing some japa or something. Even Buddhist tradition, Buddha has not done many rituals known to us. But you see the Tibetan Buddhists, so many rituals they found out. Some Manipadme Hum, some rotating something, going around some, because somehow you have to keep the mind quiet. Otherwise, why should you walk around this hill? Somehow make the mind quiet. Hritstale manaswasthata. Bhagavan said to make the mind relaxed in the Hrit Sthala, in its abode, the heart. And that is bhakti, that is jnana, that is karma. Hrit Stale manaswasthata kriya bhakti yoga bodhasya nishitam. You will continue tomorrow, 2 more days. So we will continue tomorrow. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Yato mamatma bhavasi tumeva tato na vachyam mama kinchidasti. यथा तवेष्टं कुरु मां तथैव त्वाम् आत्मनाथं रमणं भजामि.